And it's so beautiful how he says, then you don't have to look for truth. Truth will find you. So he's saying here, don't worry so much about what you need. Because you see, we've mixed wants and needs. And because we're not clear about that, we're usually going after wants, thinking those are needs. But what are our needs? I mean, basically, what do we really need? Food, clothing, shelter, and some monies to buy the food. But we believe that we need more than that because we believe that we're lacking. And because we have this belief that we're lacking, that we're less than, and it's a deep-rooted, deep-seated belief that most people carry around. And because of that, we feel we need to expand ourselves. And in that need to expand ourselves, we then make ourselves the center of our universe. And we get into a lot of problems, a lot of trouble. Because we don't need to expand ourselves. We want to expand ourselves. Because this will make us feel secure. This will make us feel important. Finally, I'll get the love that I really want. And you know that just doesn't work that way. So he's saying, he's questioning, what do you really, really need? But one must survive. Well, he says, you can't help surviving. The real you is timeless and beyond birth and death. And the body will survive as long as it is needed. It is not important that it should live long. A full life is better than a long life. Well, who's to say what is a full life? Doesn't it depend on my cultural background? If you seek reality, you must set yourself free of all backgrounds, of all cultures, of all patterns of thinking and feeling. Even the idea of being man or woman, or even human, should be discarded. The ocean of life contains all, not only humans. So, first of all, abandon all self-identification. Stop thinking of yourself as such and so, this or that. Abandon all self-concern. Worry not about your welfare, material or spiritual. Abandon every desire, gross or subtle. Stop thinking of achievement of any kind. You are complete here and now. You need absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean that you must be brainless and foolhardy, indifferent. Only the basic anxiety for oneself must go. You need some food, clothing, and shelter for you and yours. But this will not create problems as long as greed is not taken for a need. Live in tune with things as they are and not as they are imagined. What say you to this?
Well,
What do you think of this?
What's so terrible about a little recognition now and then? Don't we recognize talent? Don't we recognize acts of goodwill? Don't we salute, recognize, and honor scientific achievements? We went to hear a wonderful pianist, and we all applauded and recognized her talent. What's wrong with being the recipient of having someone recognize my talent that I have devoted countless hours of my life to? I think the problem comes is that if I'm attached to the recognition, if I can receive the recognition graciously, like a gift, and have it have a pleasant vibration pass through me in the receiving of it, and enjoy it, and be done with it when it's over, and not long for more, or not feel annoyed that the volume of the applause wasn't at a sufficient decibel level, then what's wrong with that?
Well, but you see, there's nothing wrong with that, but you see what you're describing. See, the recognition of something beautiful and wonderful, and the giving out of something beautiful and wonderful is the same. That's not of the me. That pianist that played with her heart and soul, that artist that paints with the heart and soul, that musician, that singer, when there is no me, then that in you that recognizes that talent, whether it's from science or music or art or baking or planting, that isn't the me that's recognizing that. And what's coming out isn't from the me. A second later, the me may say, oh, I was great at that. I want to do that again. But in that moment, it's like that basketball player you were describing. The recognition of his beauty as he was playing was one with the beauty that was playing.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. Where we get into trouble is the other, because he says here, free yourself of that anxiety. Because look at that anxiety that it causes if I come into it with a me. What if I'm not good enough? What if they don't like it? That's horrible. That's so painful. He's saying, let go of that.
Okay, yes, so he's saying, what really do you need aside from basic necessities? So yes, I don't need recognition, absolutely not. I don't need it, but in the celebration of it, as the way you described, that's outside the parameters that he's talking about.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that, yes, go ahead, Eve.
I don't want to interrupt.
No, go on.
I felt as though at one point in my mind I was hearing Nisargadatta address his questioner, as though an addiction counselor might be addressing a heroin addict, saying, you may want heroin, but you don't really need heroin. Mm-hmm. You know, we're so addicted to our identities, which aren't even real.
Correct.
We're addicted to this patterned belief format. And we need to preserve it. Like in that song Paul Simon said, God bless our standard of living, let's keep it that way. You know, I mean, that's what we are. We're a set of standards, and the penny has to drop, and oh my God, this graph bar is too low today, and I'm having a bad hair day of the soul, and I should meditate more, and
That's right.
and it's exhausting.
That's
And we think we're being good and spiritual.
That's right. This is
It's
true.
hysterical.
That's right. Because we put the me even into that.
Exactly.
I just recently saw this movie about Mother Teresa called The Letters. I don't know if anybody saw it. And in one part of the movie where she was gaining reputation around the world, and this reporter comes to her, wants to write a whole story about her, you're a celebrity, and she refuses to be interviewed. And he keeps following and following. She says, you don't get it. Write about the poor. It's not about me. It's not about me. I don't want. He says, but everybody wants to know about you. No, I don't. So she just would not give in to this reporter.
That's right.
Because he said, look at the poor in the world. Write about that.
Yes.
So that was, although she finally accepts the Nobel Prize, but in a gracious way.
Yes. Well, that reminds me of, we used to go to the Baptist church to hear the gospel singers in Bridgehampton on.
That is wonderful.
For years we were going there, and we went there one day. I think we used to go on a Sunday. I don't remember when it was. A Sunday. And a woman started singing. They have their choir come. And a woman started singing, and it just went into your heart and soul. I don't know if I've ever heard a voice like that. And so when the service was over, Paul and I went over to her, and we said, what a voice, what a gift, this is so beautiful. Have you ever made a record, or do you have a CD? Oh, she said, I only sing for God.
Wow.
And that, of course.
Wow.
So it's not about me, she was saying. And the voice, it just happens to be the instrument through which consciousness is streaming and manifesting this wonderful voice or this wonderful talent. Right? So, the man says, what am I if not human? That which makes you think that you are human is not human. That need. See, it's interesting because Jean Klein used to also say, you're not the man, you're not the woman in relationship. You are the love between the two. So it's so you see.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's so beautiful because so stop identifying, as you said, Eve, with this body mind, this man, this woman, or even he says being human, and the man says, well, what am I if not human? And he says, well, that which makes you think you're human is not human. It is but a dimensionless point of consciousness, a conscious nothing. All you can say about yourself is, I am. Right? I am. You are, now listen, this is how he tells you. You are pure being, awareness, bliss. To realize that is the end of all seeking. You come to it when you see all you think yourself to be as mere imagination and stand aloof in pure awareness of the transient as transient, imaginary as imaginary, unreal as unreal. It is not all that difficult, but detachment is needed. It is the clinging to the false that makes the true so difficult to see. Once you understand that the false needs time, and what needs time is false, you are near the reality, which is timeless. ever in the now. Beautiful.
How does the false need time?
Because it's in time, and that which is real is timeless. And timeless is now. This now. This eternal now. This now is eternal.
Could you reread that passage?
Okay. I'll read the paragraph. You are pure being, awareness, bliss. To realize that is the end of all seeking. You come to it when you see all you think yourself to be as mere imagination and stand aloof in pure awareness of the transient as transient. You know, the impermanent as impermanent. Imaginary as imaginary. All our images, all our concepts. Unreal as unreal. It is not difficult, but detachment is needed. Distance is needed. It is the clinging to the false that makes the true so difficult to see. Once you understand that the false needs time, and what needs time is false, you are near a reality which is timeless, ever in the now. Eternity in time is mere repetitiveness, like the movement of a clock. It flows from the past into the future endlessly, an empty perpetuity. Reality is what makes the present so vital, so different from the past and the future, which are merely mental. If you need time to achieve something, it must be false. The real is always with you. You need not wait to be what you are. Only you must not allow your mind to go out of yourself in search. When you want something, ask yourself, do I really need it? And if the answer is no, then just drop it.
I used to ask my ex-wife that question sometimes, do you really need that? Well, she got real pissed off when I said that.
The questioner, must I not be happy? I may not need a thing, yet if it can make me happy, should I not grasp it? Nothing can make you happier than you are. All search for happiness is misery and leads to more misery. The only happiness worth the name is the natural happiness of conscious being. So, right? We search for happiness, but if you know your true nature, and you're able to live from that place, what could we possibly get that could bring us more happiness than that natural happiness that is who we are. Because that happiness is not momentary. That's not a happiness that comes and goes. Every other kind of happiness associated with pleasures
Exactly.
come and go. We get it, we're happy, it gives us pleasure, and then the search is on again for more happiness.
Well, it's like my natural happiness gets contaminated by fear and desire. That's what gets in the way.
Well, it gets in the way of a realization, yes, because it's there.
Yeah.
The person says, well, don't I need a lot of experience before I can reach such high level of awareness? Experience leaves only memories behind and adds to the burden which is heavy enough. You need no more experiences. The past ones are sufficient. And if you feel you need more, look into the hearts of people around you. You will find a variety of experiences which you would not be able to go through in 1,000 years. Learn from the sorrows of others and save yourself your own. It is not experience that you need, but the freedom from all experience. Don't be greedy for experience. You need none.
It's kind of funny that we've had enough. At this point.
Well, he says, don't you pass through experiences yourself? Nisargadatta, things happen round me, but I take no part in them. An event becomes an experience only when I am emotionally involved. I am in a state which is complete, which speaks not to improve on itself, of what use is experience to me. Well, one needs knowledge and education. Nisargadatta, to deal with things, knowledge of things is needed. To deal with people, you need insight, sympathy. To deal with yourself, you need nothing. Be what you are, conscious being, and don't stray away from yourself. So, right?
So what percentage of people do we estimate have had the privilege of ever having one moment of non-conceptual awareness? Like when I'm on a crosstown bus in New York City, and I have John Cabot's Zen book in my bag.
Yes.
I think, how many times has a John Cabot Zen book been on the crosstown 86th Street bus? And I remember before I woke up, even just for a slight, I've been hitting the snooze alarm my whole life anyway, but occasionally I have non-conceptual awareness.
Yes.
Yes. So aside from when people are having sex, which is, I think, its main attraction, really, if people are not meditating or valuing these inner conversations, how are they ever going to get there? There's no advertisements for this. I mean, except on Oprah, I guess. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
There's no profit maker there that can, there's no shopping channel product, I don't think.
But you see, I think the majority of people have known non-conceptual awareness.
Without knowing that they did.
That's right.
I got it.
That's right.
Okay.
In
That's
every
what Ken says is a Jedi.
in every sunset, in every sunrise, in every look in a puppy, in a baby, in at a work of art, in listening to music, we all known it.
Mhm.
And that's what seeking for God.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what God is seeking for us.
And that's, yes, both ways. Both ways, yes. But we don't know it. Most people don't know it.
And then we think that because we buy the product, that's gonna bring us that puppy feeling.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Well, that's exactly what's getting sold to you.
Exactly, if I have the designer's name over here.
So when the catalog comes and I look through it and I see all these nice clothes, right? But then I say to myself, but do I really need it? And the answer is no. I don't need it, but I would enjoy having it. Why would I enjoy having it? Well, I see myself in it, and it looks nice, and I will look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
And then
Yeah.
I'll feel
Yeah.
better.
Right? So then it's like,
I don't think.
what's the I that looks nice? Well, my self-image.
Yeah, right, so what, you know? But if the self-image is like you're tied to it, that I have to have that dress on or that shirt or whatever it is,
Yeah,
because I'm gonna,
Isn't that the
Look good,
very
and that's
meaning
my-
of self-image?
but what?
What you just said, I mean, how can you sort of
because
talking
is
about
beauty a need?
that it's
I mean,
okay
it
to
feels
have
like
self-image?
It feels like a need.
I thought that was the problem.
No, but I don't know, because I could tell myself, well, I'm gonna buy it, and I'm not attached to it, and I know I really don't need it, but what was the reasoning?
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, it sounded like a
I don't
little,
know.
it sounded like I
It's
was,
like-
I was,
I was just thinking about this dress I bought, to be honest.
That's really cute.
I do wonder,
That's
like, if
self-image.
beauty,
That
if
works.
beauty is a need, is a need. I mean, we appreciate beauty,
Absolutely.
and I think if you make yourself look beautiful, then it can also be a gift to all the people that are looking at you.
oh, that's good, that's good.
Thank you very much.
No, I mean, I was looking at people if they dress up.
Hold on, I wanna go to the garbage and get that catalog.
Life coach.
I'll give everyone pleasure.
I think certain things like, I'm thinking to myself like, I get in a routine where I'm gonna go in this drawing, I love this smoothies they make and stuff like that, and it's delicious. But then when it becomes, because then I question myself, then I have to go there the next day, and the next day, and the next day,
Well, that's
and then I
okay.
say to myself, if I don't do it that day, I feel, I'm missing my smoothie. Then it becomes like an obsession. It's no longer just occasional, it's nice, it tastes good and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I think
so
it's
then I have to
important.
stop myself. Frank, you don't really need it today. It's okay if you don't stop.
The way I kind of question myself on that is I try to put the equation of attachment being the root of all suffering. So desire, attachment, it leads eventually, ultimately to suffering because I got a habit now that I have to maintain. So for me it's best to keep it simple and not to start something, attachment to something that's just going to divert me from my freedom of being simple. That's I try to think that attachment is the root of all suffering. Even just the thought that I need something, I'm attaching myself to an expectation, even if it's not a thing, a material thing. So attachment is a big one for most of us. For me it is.
Well, in the context that it keeps you from focusing on that momentary reality, right?
That's true.
It
Distraction.
distracts you, right?
Yeah.
So you're not, the ego, whatever, is thinking, this is where I should be looking, this is what I should be doing, and you're
Yes.
not really experiencing the true reality of the moment.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the way-
It becomes a distraction
Right,
away from the
Yeah.
now.
right.
Yes.
It puts you in the future of going somewhere, or buying
That's true.
something, or in the past of, oh, when I did that kind of, so it takes you out of that moment. But it's kind of our lives are sort of,
But then again, we are all unique personalities, right? If we followed this line of reasoning, we'd all be wearing canvas and
Burlap.
burlap,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Great.
So,
Great
but
burlap.
some of us like color more than others and have a flair for this or that, so how do we account for that? Otherwise, like,
How did Nisargadatta live? You guys read about that a little bit. How did Ira's teacher live? You know, usually your teacher gives you an example of, you know, you look to them to sort of set an example of how to get by. What was Nisargadatta's?
He lived
Last
in
life.
a little bare attic. Well, he had his meetings in a bare attic room, and he lived in Bombay.
Was he a shopkeeper?
He was originally, yes. A very simple life. Very simple.
Is it true he smoked cigarettes?
But he did. He
Yeah.
did. He was.
I'm not claiming that somehow.
No. The body was addicted. Yes. It's true. It's true. But he led a very, very simple life. But you know,
He left his family, I think, too.
he originally, when he realized, he left the family to go around teaching, and then there was a realization, what am I doing? And he came back. And then he stayed in that spot, he lived in that, he taught in that little attic room, and people from all over the world came to him.
I read that he also participated daily in the Hindu prayers with his
He
friends.
did
although
some
he-
ritual.
Yeah.
He did do
yeah,
some
he sang
ritual.
songs and
Yes,
Mm.
yes, that was joyous for him, and so he did that. You see, I think in terms of buying things or it's fine as long as there's not an attachment where I have to have it, and an identification with it. You know, this'll make me more, this'll expand the me by having this thing. Yet again, if a desire comes up for something, and there is a feeling of I have to have it, then in that moment, the acceptance of what has arisen in that moment is important, not to resist it. Then there has to be an acceptance. All right, well, this is what it is now. And then at some point, I may be able to step back and say, look at that. There was the ego at work, and I didn't even realize it. Because in that moment, I was blind to it. I felt I needed whatever it was. So the most important thing is to not push against it. Oh, what am I? What kind of a spiritual person am I if I'm going after this or what? No. Because that's the ego again beating you up. So there needs to be acceptance. Okay, that's what it was. So I bought that shirt, or I bought that car, or whatever. And at some point, though, if you keep watching, you begin to see, oh, look at that. That was the ego at work. That was the me at work. And it was expanded by what it went after. But okay, there even has to be acceptance of that. So that you're never in a position of beating yourself up. Because the minute there is a beating yourself up, punishing yourself, that's the me again.
You know, wait, now what am I thinking? If something brings, just makes me happy, like I got a car, which I needed, but it makes me really happy.
Yes.
Right? I love getting in that
Yes.
car and driving it, and just
Right.
makes me happy. So I feel like there's an expansion, but it's like there's not only an expansion of being, you know, the me. I feel like it just makes me happy and receptive to that, to some, what can I say? Well-being. It's a sense of well-being,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and so that makes me open and receptive to everything, you know. So do you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. And I think the point here, though, is that that's all fine and good and beautiful. However, if you didn't have that car,
Oh,
would you feel less than? Would you, right?
I don't know what I
I
was driving, no.
mean, would you feel less than? I mean, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
then
yeah,
I would
yeah.
have another car, and maybe not as beautiful as that one, but it would serve the purpose and function of needing to drive someplace,
Right.
to have a car. It's the attachment and the identification
Okay.
with the object
Okay.
that causes the problem. If some of the object is beautiful and pleasing and brings joy, fine, and brings an attitude of well-being, beautiful. But in a second, so
It
if
can
somebody
go.
hits that
That's right.
car,
No, that's
and then
right.
I
That's very
devastated,
true.
No, I'm not
Right?
happy
No, that's
anymore.
very true. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
There's an
yeah.
impermanence about that
That's
happiness.
right,
Right.
right, right,
So it's
right.
not.
That's,
But she
You
needed a car.
yes, practically,
But
Yes,
you're sort
you-
of
you
saying you
needed a
had
car.
that wasn't as cute.
Right.
Well, it's not about how it looks so much for
You-
me,
you
it's just,
needed-
I like the way it drives.
You
It's
needed
like
a
a
car.
okay, I like the way it drives, yes.
You needed a
right.
car. You could have bought any car, but you had to have a car. So you might as well pick out a car
Yes.
that you like. It's not like you had 3 cars at home and you went out and bought another car.
That's
It's not like you
right,
had 10
right,
pairs
right,
of
right,
shoes
right,
and you
right.
bought,
Right.
you know, 2
Correct.
But she might have a thing for little cars.
She might, but she only has one little
So
car.
far.
She doesn't have
Yeah.
4.
So far.
No, but you know your point, I do that, I really get that because, right away when I had this car, I drove into this curb and I saw some little scratches on the wheel under and I was like,
Perfect car.
yeah.
That's not
And it was an interesting thing to watch myself with that.
That's
And then I
right.
was like,
That's
you know, come
That's
on.
why I
No,
think
that's-
what Bill was saying resonated with me, in that I imagine myself opening up something I bought that, you know, online, and clipping off the tag and immediately ruining what I bought when I clipped off the tag.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know?
make a whole.
So even in the, like,
You ruin it when you put the tag in.
Oh.
running the risk, it's often not worth running the risk of having more stuff in your life just for the risk of being attached or creating more sorrow or
Yes,
suffering for
create,
yourself.
that's, that's,
So that question, do I need it? It would be interesting to say, how would I feel if I don't have it?
right,
Oh,
yes, so.
Yeah, if I wasn't, if
Mhm.
I decide not to buy them, like what does that make me feel?
yeah.
If I didn't have, well, but practically I may need it because
Yeah,
I live
yeah.
in the country and there's no way I can get around if I don't
Right.
have a,
Mhm.
right. But you're saying,
Well, I mean, so maybe if you say, do I need it, the answer is no. I
right,
could not buy, I don't actually need it, I don't need another dress.
okay, yes,
But I might still decide to buy it,
that's
because I really like it and it's the
Correct.
right color and size.
correct.
But it would just be interesting to say, well, how would I feel if I don't buy it? Like, how much is the attachment?
Exactly,
for the
that's
holiday?
right. That's right, that question,
I think
that
you can-
question measures the attachment.
I
Just
think
to
you can
see.
appreciate the beauty of, I can see a car, I mean, sometimes I see, well, if I really want to design, I mean, I just think of cars as just to get me to a place, but
Right,
I keep saying that, you know, cars years ago, I mean, when I look at a 57 Chevy, that was a beautiful car. When I see somebody driving it, I say, gee, if I had money, I would like a new, 57 Chevy or, but I think you can appreciate for its beauty, just like you see a painting. I can't afford a Vincent van Gogh, but I mean, I go into the museum and I see a Vincent van Gogh, I say, well, it's beautiful, I can appreciate the beauty. So when I see somebody driving a beautiful car, I say, that's a beautiful car,
yes, Frank, that's a really good point. I can appreciate beauty without having to own it.
Yeah.
Because the owning, see, the desire comes when we see something of beauty and say, oh, I've got to have it.
Yeah, and what if you could have?
It'll make me more beautiful.
Yes, but can I see something of beauty, appreciate it, and not have to have it? Not have to own it, and still be able to appreciate it? Of course we can.
Well, if I could afford it, I would have it.
Well, then, okay, yes.
I know.
But even if I could afford it, I may say, do I really need it? And must I have it?
So when Karen wears her new dress that she didn't really need, and we're looking at her, and it's so beautiful, we'll just appreciate the beauty and not say, wow, where'd you get that dress? I
I'll
wouldn't
wear
get
it
the
next
same
week.
one.
I'll wear it next week.
Well, I agree with you. You're an instrument, right? Even an instrument can be dressed up and look better. It fulfills a purpose. So that dress is going to make your instrument more pleasant to look at. That's beautiful.
So we have to invite Karen someplace where she can wear it.
Let it go, let it go.
I don't think she was talking about a car or a dress. I heard her talking about I heard her say the word receptive and
Yeah.
expansive, and I heard her
That's right.
say that. And I think that's what the whole conversation really is about, because I was reading this wonderful quote by this guy. He said, gratitude is the ideal state for receivership. And you were saying that feeling of well-being associated with humming along in the car. It doesn't matter what car. It's the feeling state that you have in the dress, in the car, whatever it is. And I mean, it could be a junkie car, who cares? It's you're feeling happy rolling along and, you know, navigating yourself. And that means that you can receive that grace that brings us non-conceptual awareness. So I don't think it's about the designer stuff. I think it's about whatever floats your boat. That's what I think anyway.
It's like the preacher saying, by the power invested in me, right? He needs a Bible. It's attached to the Bible, like the. But it's creative, and it helps people. It helps, and as long as I ask for things, I guess, and I acquire things that enhance my ability to help more, to become a more compassionate person, whatever it takes me to get there. I think that the intention that I acquire this with enhances, whether it's a Bible, a book, or anything, it makes me more effective in being all that I can be, in a sense, that as a human being, as a me, in a sense.
Because your instrument is in tune. It's not like we're dressing up the instrument. Something about that dress that you got, something about being in the car keeps you in tune. And I feel like it's our responsibility to stay in tune. In tune with our instrument.
Yes, oh yes, yes, yes. The thing is not to identify with
Yeah,
it.
right.
Certainly
So let's
stay.
talk more about that. Meaning identify with how important it is
Yeah.
to, yeah.
It's an instrument. Want to take care of it. Want to stay in tune with it, which means understand what's happening in it, mind and body. But not identify with it in that this is not what I am. What I am is the awareness of that instrument.
Wonderful.
Right?
Perfect, thank you.
And without any of that, I am.
Yes,
So, yeah.
yes,
Oh,
that's
that's
the
wonderful.
point.
So you return to being the subject rather than the object.
Yes.
Oh, thank you,
You
that was
are
so
the-
helpful.
You are the ultimate subject.
Okay.
So, we just have a little more of this and then. Well, the questioner says, university education is most useful. Oh, no doubt, says Nisargadatta. It helps you to earn a living. But it doesn't teach you how to live. You are a student of psychology. It may help you in certain situations. But can you live by psychology? Life is worthy of the name only when it reflects reality in action. I'll repeat that.
Yeah.
Life is worthy of the name only when it reflects reality in action. No university will teach you how to live so that when the time of dying comes, you can say, I lived well. I do not need to live again. Most of us die wishing we could live again. So many mistakes committed, so much left undone. Most of the people vegetate but do not live. They merely gather experience and enrich their memory. But experience is the denial of reality, which is neither sensory nor conceptual, neither of the body nor of the mind, though it includes and transcends both. But experience is most useful. By experience, you learn not to touch a flame. I have told you already that knowledge is most useful in dealing with things, but it does not tell you how to deal with people and with yourself, how to live a life. We are not talking of driving a car or earning money. For this, you need experience. But for being a light unto yourself, material knowledge will not help you. You need something much more intimate and deeper than that. To be yourself in the true sense of the word. Your outer life is unimportant. You can become a night watchman and live happily. It is what you are inwardly that matters. Your inner peace and joy you have to earn. It is much more difficult than earning money. No university can teach you to be yourself. Discard all you are not and go even deeper. Just as a man digging a well discards what is not water until he reaches the water-bearing strata, so must you discard what is not your own, till nothing is left which you can disown. You will find that what is left is nothing which the mind can hook on to. You are not even a human being, you just are. A point of awareness, coextensive with time and space, and beyond both. The ultimate cause, itself uncaused. If you ask me, who are you? My answer would be, nothing in particular, yet I am. Well, if you are nothing in particular, then you must be the universal. What is it to be universal? Not as a concept, but as a way of life. Not to separate, not to oppose, but to understand and love whatever contacts you. That is living universally. To be able to say truly, I am the world is me. I am at home in the world is my own. Every existence is my existence. Every consciousness is my consciousness. Every sorrow is my sorrow, and every joy is my joy. This is universal life. Yet my real being, and yours too, is beyond the universe, and therefore beyond the categories of the particular and the universal. It is what it is, totally self-contained and independent. Oh, I find it hard to understand, the guy says. You must give yourself time to brood over these things. The old grooves must be erased in your brain without forming new ones. You must realize yourself as the immovable, behind and beyond the movable, the silent witness of all that happens. Well, does it mean that I must give up the idea of an active life? Not at all. There will be marriage, there will be children, there will be earning money to maintain a family. All this will happen in the natural course of events, for destiny must fulfill itself. You will go through it without resistance, facing tasks as they come, attentive and thorough, both in small things and big. But the general attitude will be of affectionate detachment, enormous goodwill, without expectation of return, constant giving without asking. You are the clarity and kindness that makes everything orderly and happy. It may seem vague to you, but if you think a little, you will find that the mystical is the most practical, for it makes your life creatively happy.
I kind of remember W.C. Fields, right? The old man. In one movie, one day I was watching him, and he said, "A man has to have a purpose, because without a purpose we have communism, and we know that doesn't work." So,
So what does it mean to live a universal life? What does it mean to go past oneself?
What does it mean, or what does it require?
Okay, maybe you're right. Okay,
What does it require?
what does it require? What does it require to live a universal life?
He read us that list.
That's
He
right.
listed them for you.
I'll read it again.
Take notes.
What is it to be universal? Not as a concept, but as a way of life. Right? Not to separate. What does it mean not to separate?
Me versus you.
That's right. Not to oppose.
Surrender, accept.
That's right. Not to resist. But to understand and love whatever contacts you. To be able to say truly, I am the world and the world is me. I am at home in the world. The world is my own. Right? Every existence is my existence. Every consciousness is my consciousness. Every sorrow is my sorrow, and every joy is my joy. This is universal life. Yet, my real being, and yours too, is beyond the universe, and therefore beyond the categories of the particular and the universal. Right? It transcends all that. It is what it is, totally self-contained and independent. Nothing, no thing can disturb it, can change it, because it's not changeable. Everything else is changeable. What is it in you that has never changed? What is it in you that has never changed? The body has changed, for sure. The thoughts changing all the time, feelings changing all the time, the senses changing all the time. But what has not changed?
I am.
That's right. That's right. And that I am, that sense I am, is the same I am when you were 3, when you were 13, when you were 33. That never changed. Because that I am is timeless. It's not in time. Everything else changed, but that didn't change.
I'm thinking about when I try to be creative with the things that I do, like on YouTube, for example, my focus is on universal and timeless. That's my main focus, on that. Whatever I create, or I'm a part of creating, will be understood in anywhere in the world without translation. That's universal.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is timeless, so that whatever I'm doing will be as good 100 years, or was, so that I feel like we here to become universal, so we can go beyond the universe. And the only way out of it is through it. So we need to experience being universal in order to go beyond that, which is
Sure.
the total awareness of conscientiousness, whatever you want to call it.
He says that it's easy. Why is it not? What is it that prevents us from the ease with which he speaks, right? Is it,
What do you think?
I mean, the obvious answer is it's the me, creates that wall with, but if it's that easy, it should be easy to eliminate that, and yet it seems like it's not.
It's really, you're dealing with a force that's very strong, conditioning and beliefs. Right? Those are very, very strong. However, what you have, what you are, is awareness. So that's, you shine the spotlight of awareness on the conditioning, moment by moment. just with ease. If you say it's so hard, that's the mind saying it's so hard. So we don't, it doesn't have to be easy, and it doesn't really have to be hard. It just is what is in the moment.
Right, and maybe I'm like sort of not articulating it correctly. There are moments where it seems, could it be this obvious? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're saying, okay, I'm aware that at this particular moment, I'm experiencing something on a certain level, or I'm experiencing it through, right? So, but it's the continuity, I guess, that feels like it should be easier. If you have those moments of clarity, why aren't you always in that moment of clarity? I guess it's.
You know how I kind of, go ahead, you were first.
Go ahead, Bill.
If I have a question about, when I'm doing something, I have doubt about it, I ask myself, am I doing this right now because I'm supposed to, I was conditioned to, or am I doing this right now because I choose to, in a clear state of mind, a reasoning, clear state of ability to reason, choose to as versus I'm supposed to, I was conditioned to. And that kind of gives me a little bit of whoop, it just jogs me a little bit so I can think about it for that moment.
And also, you know, it's like Iris says, we're so conditioned to always looking out rather than looking in,
This habit.
right? And so it's inadvertence. We're so used to looking out that we don't have an inner focus, right? So that we don't string those moments together perhaps as consistently as we would if we were more inward looking.